Welcome to GMP Breaks Down, the TikTok Exodus. I'm Kaya Schoenberg, and I'll be guiding you through this important conversation. As the ban of TikTok looms, we'll hear from two successful creators about their plans for the future. Let's dive in.
Hi, my name is Amanda, also known as No Rads to the Nads. You can find me on pretty much any social media platform there is. I'm from Florida, and I love to cover content related to politics, human rights, and reproductive freedom.
Hi, I'm not Eli Monty. That is who I am. I am not Eli Monty, and that's the name I'm going to use on all of my platforms going forward because that was my name originally on TikTok where I first got my like big break, I should say, before I got banned. But not Eli Monty on all platforms. Just look me up if you're curious. If you want to see if I'm on a platform, just look me up. I'm probably there. That's not NOTELIMONTY on all platforms. And I'm a wannabe activist type person. I'm a huge advocate for social justice and fairness in society. And that's me.
What's the next social media platform where you'll share your content?
So, my main platforms, if TikTok does in fact go away, which I agree it looks like it's going to, are going to be YouTube and Twitch. Um, YouTube is probably the easiest to understand for most people. There's a lot of information out there on how to get to creating content and what it means to be monetized. It's also a lot more well known for different variety of content, whereas a lot of people think Twitch is kind of just gaming, and it's not. So it's harder to bring your audience all over to Twitch because not very many people participate in that.
I will be on YouTube mainly, and I might do a Twitch stream here and there. I don't like Twitch. Twitch is even worse than YouTube, in my honest opinion. Like you have to play the hottest game right then and there, and that's what you have to start out doing on Twitch in order to get any sort of following. If you just start out doing like political shit, you're not gonna get anywhere on Twitch unless some other person like Hassan or somebody or TYT or Rayvana or somebody shouts you out. Otherwise, you're not getting nowhere. And Twitch, honestly, and the Twitch climate for politics, in my opinion, is ass. So I will most likely just be going to YouTube. I'm probably going to be doing everything on YouTube. I'm probably going to start live streaming on YouTube. I'm going to just start. That's where I'm going. Is going to be YouTube. So I don't know how the live scene over YouTube is. It feels kind of weird to me. But I'm gonna be going to like making short form content and long form content. But I'm gonna not keep anybody. I'm gonna try not to keep anybody for longer than 10 minutes. I'm gonna try my hardest to not keep anybody for longer than 10 minutes. So yeah, YouTube is where your boy is gonna be. Yeah.
How do you intend to address copyright issues on other platforms?
Copyright is really strict on YouTube. Very, very strict on YouTube. Personally, I don't use a lot of copyrighted music just because of the content I create. It's more like activism based and political based. So the need for music isn't really necessarily there, like branded music or music that's copyrighted. So for me, it's not too big of a deal unless I'm doing like a short that's a trending sound. But there's, you can use sounds that are approved by YouTube. So that's not a big problem for me. However, if you are someone who's doing like a podcast or you want to have filler music in the background, there are plenty of sites that have like free to use sounds. They have different kinds of styles of music and all those things, and you never have to worry about that. Like if you're new to YouTube and you don't know about doing intros and outros, and that it has your branding on and things like that, those are, you can look up those sites that have copyright free music that are free use for everyone, and that's the best way to go. Because if you use a song that's by a licensed artist and you don't have the licensure, and YouTube doesn't, they don't play, they do not play around with that.
Genuinely, TikTok for me was my microphone. It was my podium. It was my soapbox. So I never really used a lot of other sounds and shit like that. So I'm that part. I am unaffected by it. The thing that most affects me is losing the platform that I've already built, the audience I've already built, the voice and microphone that I was able to use. So not really. I don't really feel affected super by that, but I can empathize with those who do feel that way. Like especially like the cosplay communities and stuff like that. Like a lot of those nerdy communities, I know they're gonna feel that's terrible for them because I noticed that a lot of those people use that stuff, and it's terrible that's going to be gone for the people who did use it and for the people who that was like the main source of their content, because there was a lot of creators who got really big and who made brought a lot of income for themselves using other sounds, using music and shit. And that's like what TikTok mainly is known for. TikTok is not usually known for genuine sounds, at the very least. For the most part, it was just somebody either made the sound that everybody saw and could like resonate with and wanted to use themselves because they wish they made that sound or whatever, or there was clips from like TV shows and movies and shit like that, that they were inspired by, that they wanted to use and whatnot, and so they made their own content that way. And that's still like genuine real content, but TikTok was all about taking something else and putting your own spin on it, taking somebody else's stuff and doing your own thing with it or something like that. And that was also the charm of like of TikTok, and what really caused TikTok, I think, to get, or musically maybe, to get the prestige and to blow up the way it did, was just this creative liberty, or adding to something else, and the community making this thing bigger than how it started in a way. And that's always crazy to see. It's always great to watch, always great to see. And you just don't get that with other apps, really, in all honesty. You don't really get that with you can do that with like YouTube and like other like Instagram probably and other stuff like that. But 9 times out of 10, like even those videos, like it was from TikTok. Everything was from TikTok. That function itself was from TikTok, from Musical.ly. So it's not going to affect me necessarily. It's going to affect the way in which I view content, most likely, yes. But it is not going to affect the way in which I interact with, or the way in which I specifically make my content so much. So, yeah.
What is your storage solution for backing up your TikTok content?
There are sites that are available like Restream that will just automatically export everything from your account for you. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, you can definitely do that. There are other apps like Fanbase, which is another, very similar to TikTok, where you get subscribers and you can, post your content where they can import both from TikTok and Instagram. But my best suggestion to you is, especially if you're a serious creator, as soon as you make content, download it. Even just every 2 weeks, if you're using an Apple device, make sure you're always backing up to the cloud, first of all. But every 2 weeks, put everything on an external hard drive, because you never know when you might want it. And also, you never know when you might lose your device or damage your device. Like, don't rely on your phone or your iPad or even your computer to be your sole method of backing things up, because you can, and you will at some point, lose some of that information. So always back everything up to a secondary and maybe even tertiary source if it's really that important to you.
All of my shit I'm backing up on I downloaded my data. I just got it like this morning when I was at work. I just got it. I was like, let me just get this shit. So I was like, I put way too much goddamn work into this shit to just let this shit die. And if I find my old videos too, if I find the videos from my old account as well, I'm gonna do the same shit with that as well. I'm gonna start throwing them up too. If I find any of my old bangers, I'm gonna start throwing them up too on YouTube. And if it's just a storm of Monty on YouTube, then it's just a storm of Monty of YouTube on YouTube that people see, and that's what it's gonna be. Y'all will see me with different hairstyles and different hair lengths. I'm black. This is how it happens.
What platform metrics must you achieve in order to receive payments?
YouTube is probably one of the more lax ones. You have to have, what is it? It's 1,000 subscribers. The hardest part of reaching monetization on YouTube will be 4,000 hours of watch time if you're doing long form content. And then if you're doing shorts, it's 10 million views, and I think it's 90 days. So it's that benchmark is harder to hit. But if you have, this is a suggestion that I'll make. If you have good friends, if you have a loyal following, even if you're a smaller content creator, ask your friends who work from home or who can just have the ability to let things play in the background. And whatever content you have on YouTube, just have them watch it on repeat. You can even do it from one of your other devices, and that counts towards your watch time, which is really helpful.
My biggest challenge is going to be, do I want to edit? Do I want to maybe go on like podcast platforms like Spotify, or I don't know where people get their podcasts or whatever, because I don't listen to podcasts for the most part, unless the podcast is uploaded to YouTube. I don't really listen to podcasts. So, and I'm really thinking that's going to be my format, is doing a more podcasty sort of format, or a format where I'm just talking to the camera. It's more like a vlog. I'm just giving my take on a certain social issue, and the video is no longer than like 3, 4, 5 minutes, and that's just what I do, and that's how I make my content. I've known the requirements for monetization on YouTube years ago, and that was you got to be at least 1,000 followers, and I think have a certain amount of views, be consistently raking in a certain amount of views on your videos in order to get monetized, and that in and of itself feels like a milestone on YouTube, and I just don't have the energy really, or the bandwidth mentally up here. I'm gonna just be honest. I'm lazy, and I'm not trying to like actually. I will be fine with my life if I don't make it big on TikTok or YouTube or the internet in general, because I work a job I love and I'm married. And I am an adult who makes enough money to spend on hobbies and shit. I would love more money because I would love to be able to do more things in life, but I don't really feel the need to like have that be like necessarily. I don't really feel like I have the need for that to be my bend and for my goal in life. But I'm gonna keep making content, but I want to make content because I want to build more of like a community, and it's all about building up in a way me, much less making money. I don't give a fuck if I make any money off of it. I want you to see it. I want people to see that I said that. I want people to know when they hear that he said it, they said it, she said it. Like, that's what I want people to think.
How easy or difficult is it to use the new platforms you're transitioning to?
There's a learning curve for sure. YouTube Studio, even Twitch. Twitch is a lot more confusing to me than YouTube Studio, only because I kind of dabbled in YouTube in the past. But now that YouTube has introduced shorts, it makes it a little bit easier because they wanted to have that competition with TikTok, because realistically, that was the biggest social media app in the United States. So everyone wanted that little thing, Meta brought Reels, YouTube had shorts. So there is some learning curve. It really just depends on who your target audience is, what your target type of content is, because there's a vast difference between live streaming and posting long form content and posting shorts or reels. So that's something that you have to really focus on first. Like, where am I going to be? Where do I feel like my happy home is going to be? And perfect that type of content first, and then slowly start to work yourself into other things. And I think that would be the easiest thing for anybody, especially if you're not tech savvy.
Well, the thing about TikTok, and I'm really upset because TikTok, like, just last week gave us the update where the captions, you can do all kind of crazy shit with captions now. And I'm like, holy shit, my videos look so much better now because you allow my captions to have like animations and shit. This is amazing. But TikTok was so powerful, such a powerful platform because of all that it allowed you to do from the comfort of just your phone, is what it was. It was a shame, in all honesty, that TikTok did not allow you to do that like on your computer for the most part. At least I could never figure that shit out. I can never figure that shit out. And I don't know if it was something wrong with my computer or something wrong with me not knowing, or I just didn't know how to use certain shit. But like, it had so much from just the palm of your hand, that being your phone, right? It had so much from just from that within that sphere, that allow people to make so much really cool and really interesting and niche shit that it went everywhere. So I mean, and it's honestly kind of depressing that we're losing that and that you don't really get that type of stuff from like other platforms. Like people using CapCut all the time. I never used CapCut, but like a lot of people who at the time or felt like really, pushed or creative to do that. Like I said, I just had to take it. I wanted people to hear it. Now I also kind of wanted to be entertain people with some of my takes, so I tried to put like a little bit of a comedic spin on some of the shit that I was saying. But like CapCut and shit like that, like that's gonna go too. And a lot of people were using that, and that was powerful. That was super powerful for what it allowed people to do, again, just on their phones, right? Because everybody's got a phone. Not everybody's got like an expensive PC with all these different editing softwares and shit, or knows how to do that, or has the mental bandwidth or the time or wherewithal to do that and shit, right? Or the drive really to like do that type of shit, right? I just want to talk. I just want y'all to hear me. Like that's all I really want. But it's crazy that we're gonna lose all that shit too, because no other app really like was that popular, like had that shit with it. Like Instagram kind of had it, but Instagram and Facebook, it was like the same shit, and it kind of seemed plastic. It didn't seem real. It didn't seem like cool. It seemed really. I'm gonna say it seemed kind of trashy. To be real with you, like not against the people that used it, but just the way the app looked. I was like, it just looks trashy. Like, yeah. It's a real bummer that we gonna lose that shit, dog. It's a real bummer.
Are there partnership programs available on the platforms you plan to move?
TikTok was definitely more achievable. With the creativity rewards program, and which was the follow-up to the creator rewards program, a lot of people felt like 10,000 followers was a stretch, but when you're consistent and you understand your niche and your audience and you're delivering content, you can make that 10,000 pretty quickly. I feel like YouTube is a little bit more difficult because not only do you have to have that subscriber count, which equates to followers, and the watch time. And the watch time is really what's hard to get when you're first starting out. Even when you're switching over, they're two totally different animals. You may have been able to niche very easily on TikTok and you found your people right away. And, you guys just gelled. And the way TikTok works is it's a very big community, and one person tells another person, and you're sharing information, you're sharing. YouTube is a little bit more disconnected. You are able to build a subscriber base or a fan base or a community, but it's a little bit harder to go out and do that. YouTube, cracking the algorithm on YouTube is a little bit more difficult. So I prefer monetization on TikTok, especially because you can get it more quickly than you do on YouTube. But with all that being said, YouTube, the monetization is much better in terms of payouts.
I should be paid today. So I want another beat up sandwich, because that shit had no business being that good. But like I'm gonna miss that. Like I make good money, but like I'm gonna miss that supplementary income, because everything is going up, and everything is just going to keep going up because of old boy shit that you want to do, that the tech bros are telling them full steam ahead, because we're gonna implement that crypto. Like, so yeah.
What are your concerns regarding child safety on these platforms?
Well, I'm a parent too, so yeah, I try to make sure that I watch what media my kids consume. Twitch is not as child safe, but it's also much more difficult to sneak in that content that may be questionable. YouTube in the past has had many, many problems with things ending up on YouTube Kids that was very inappropriate for children because they were disguising it behind cartoons and things like that. YouTube's first line feature for child safety is every time you post a video, there's a question that it asks you, is this video safe for children? And you have to check yes or no. Do I think that YouTube is doing the best that they can to work around the bad people on the internet? I do. Ultimately, I think it's up to whomever is the parent or guardian of the minor child to make sure that you know what your kids are doing on the internet. Have discussions about internet safety, have discussions about what information, if any, is appropriate to share, because that does change as your children get older. I think that internet safety and building a good rapport with your kids is the best way that you can keep them safe, because we can't rely on these platforms to be able to see all, do all, remove all. There are going to be things and bad people who fall through the cracks.
Platforms did not have a spine or a backbone because they were afraid that they weren't going to be able, that if they banned these people, it was revenue they were missing out on as platforms to pay advertisers, to continue, or revenue that they could get, and also allow advertisers to get on, to pay the platforms to get on, right? Advertisers pay the platforms to get on that, to get on the platforms. And that, as viewership declines, as you ban people's accounts and whatnot for saying, that's money you are losing as a company. That is revenue stream that you are losing as a company. So, it does, and this is a flaw in the idea of the marketplace of ideas, or the free marketplace of ideas. It's not necessarily, popularity does not equal good, because the public is not necessarily an all good, arbiter, right? The public is solely, the morality of the public is solely dependent on the education, largely, of the public. And when you have the public educated in a specific way, it's not necessarily going to produce a good outcome within the marketplace of ideas. So in and of itself, the marketplace of ideas is very, 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 very flawed. So tying that back to child safety, no, these platforms are not good at child safety because they allowed children, specifically young men, and a lot of divorce court dads too. Let's all be real. Let's be real. Let's keep it a buck, keep it a beat. It wasn't all young dudes. It was a lot of them, but it wasn't all of them. There were a lot of divorce court, 40, 50-year-old dudes consuming this content too. 30, 40, 50-year-old dudes with receding hairlines and 2 divorces. Who was watching that shit too and gassing that shit up too. Passport bros weren't these young dudes. A lot of the passport bros, they were older men. A lot of the passport bros, they were older, weird type dudes. Or type dudes. I think I can say on YouTube. But YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, every platform just about allow the grooming of the youth with this content. They all allowed this shit to a degree. It took way too long. It took way too long for Fresh and Fit to be banned off of YouTube. That took way too. It took way too long for Milo Yiannopoulos to get banned off of the internet entirely, because everybody knew that. Everybody knew.
Thank you to our incredible speakers for sharing their valuable insights today. This is a pivotal moment for the digital landscape, and I hope this conversation has provided you with valuable information and inspiration. Thank you all for joining us today as GMP breaks down TikTok Exodus. Till next time, this is Kaya Schoenberg.